and take.
Perfect. Great. Hello and welcome. We are talking to Dawn Gracie today, and so I just thought we'd start quite quickly. So,
Please. It's been half an hour.
Yeah. So, Dawn, I've written down a few things that I have come across that you've done in the past. I thought I'd just quickly write them down. So, you're a mum, you're a singer, you are the winner of the Chai Business Personality Award 2013.
Yes.
You're a businesswoman, you're a columnist, you have been a radio show DJ, dancer, celebrity judge of the Builders Bake Off, and co-chair of Chichester Pride. You're a sales mentor and you worked on ABC Parenting Magazine.
Yeah.
So
forgot all about that.
So you have obviously done a whole host of things. How have you got to this point where you are? How do you know about dementia support? How have you come to?
Okay, well, how I know about dementia support, Sage House specifically, is back in 2016, I'd already had a career from 2012 to, it started singing in nursing homes and working with stroke associations, so, you know, singing to a certain demographic, and I decided in 2016 to do a very ambitious afternoon tea. I used Westbourne House School's big hall. And I was sponsored by local solicitors, and I thought I need to choose a charity, and dementia just came naturally because I'd been on the Friends training and I'd been on the Champions training, thinking I'd have all the time in the world to go and do talks. And then I'd also met Martha through a different association, and she came along to the afternoon tea to do a little talk about dementia phone badges, and she became a friend basically. And so then when this all came about, I came and saw this building, but when it still wasn't that like this at all. And so I kind of feel like, yeah, and it's just been, that's how, and of course I've just watched the journey, and then of course I've been along here to perform, and it just is so unique and so perfect and fits in with everything. So really through an activity, an afternoon tea that I did, and meeting Martha.
Great.
Yeah.
And it's been amazing, isn't it, how kind of you've become a real supporter of the charity, especially sort of over the last 10 weeks or so. Every week when we've been doing our Dress Up for Dementia, you've put on an afternoon show for our customers.
It started off obviously by sort of, I think, I can't remember who I mentioned to, you or Martha or someone said, oh, should I come on and do, because as a performer, out of work and not able to go perform, doing it online just seemed naturally, and of course I thought that I knew there'd be people at home not able to go out and shielding, so I thought this is a really good route, so it's a really good collaboration. And yeah, but the Dress Up, I mean, you never said to me, do you fancy joining in with our Dress Up? I just kind of thought, they're Dress Up. Otherwise you've had 10 weeks of me doing the same thing every week, and you wouldn't want that. So I thought, I'll join in with that. I've got a few dressing up things. So it was total, and I have been approached by other local charities, and I've done a few private things for them and that, but I don't know, it always comes back to Sage House Dementia Sport. It always comes back to that, because part of all of my work, whether it's private bookings, is always, dementia is always incorporated, because the demographic that I work with is always there, and through the Friends training and then the Champions training, it really helped me to identify things in people that I just didn't realise before. So
and I think to our customer base as well, you know, music's so important to them.
Music and memories is just and I think because I do 50s and 60s music, a lot of my friends do 40s music. I didn't used to before lockdown. Now I do. That's always would resonate with people, and that's what I got booked to do most. And of course, hearing the story about the wonky bookshelf and the books and the memories from, and you think of the age of those people, that is the era. So, and I've had so many amazing moments aside from Sage House at nursing homes like Augusta Court and places where I've connected with someone, and I just can't. Oh, you're a singer, you're a performer as well, and you connect with someone, and obviously working in dementia, you just nothing beats that.
Yep.
No, and it's that connection at a deeper level, isn't there? And I think the feedback we always get from the carers when Dawn's been in, it's just that, you know, when people go home, they're just kind of in this really lovely space and really happy, and they've kind of...
It's, for me, when I started as a performer, because I was in a rock band for 8 years, you probably know this already, but maybe you don't. Live performance, for me, should be immersive. I've never claimed to be the best singer, but I think actually an entertainer is so much more than that. It's how you make people feel, and people will always remember what a great time they had, rather than, wasn't her voice lovely?
Pitch perfect.
They will remember how you made them feel. And for me, in everything I do, it's immersive. And so taking that online has been interesting. As you know, I perform as if there are people sat there watching.
But
sometimes they're not, but I'll still do it.
Well, I think there's another little connection, because you recently, last year, got an award from the Mayor of Chichester for the work you do with Chichester Pride, nominated by friends of yours.
Well, nominated by people, yes. I didn't even nominate myself. Other people did that, and it's interesting how during the presentation the mayor and the council focused on the pride thing, but actually the nomination was very much
what you've given back to the
everything,
community.
The vintage and the pride, but I think they kind of picked up on that because it's quite unusual for this area.
Sure.
But the what's the citation that they read was very much about my work with the community. Of course, you know, it is a job. It's you know, but there's a lot of stuff that I do. And it was, that was amazing.
But the same event,
we
received
an award.
You did, yes. Of course you did, yes.
So, it's quite
a charity.
Yeah, I know. There was, in fact, that was such an amazing. I sat next to Patricia Hodge, not Patricia Hodge.
Routledge?
No. Bouquet.
Routledge,
yes.
Routledge.
Where's Patricia Hodge? I don't know where that
I'll Google it later.
She is a famous lady.
She is a famous lady. Maybe she was sat the other side. I don't know. But there was so many incredible things, and so many things I learned about Chichester I didn't even know about, that I planned to check out. But of course, that'll wait.
Well, talking about things that you didn't know, we've got a few questions that maybe people don't know about you. So,
I'm scared where this is going to go.
So
you should be. I've seen the questions.
So it's just 4 questions, kind of quick fire, but I feel like give a bit of context as to where this has come from, and we'll see. So first question is meeting One Direction still one of the standout moments in your life? And did your love for One Direction come from your daughter, or is your daughter's love for One Direction from you?
Oh no, she's going to kill you for this. Where do I say? This is quick fire. No, that wasn't the highlight of my life. There's been many highlights of my life. But when my daughter was much, much younger, I will just say that, if she's watching. But yes, she obviously is a young teen. Yes, it's their 10th anniversary. Is tomorrow. Actually being together. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
No.
But you're a super fan.
God, that's so bad. Why do I know that? That was a highlight, but I've seen them many times and met them a few times. But purely as a parent facilitator or child's happiness.
Sure. Out of wet felting and playing the ukulele, what's your favourite and what's the hardest to master?
Hang on a minute. No, I need to interrupt. What's wet
felting? I don't know where you're getting this information from. Wet felting is literally when you start with fluffy stuff and you work it so it begins. That was about 12 years ago. If anyone needs a private detective, this is Lou, by the way. Playing ukulele has been a struggle. Yes, it is a struggle. I started in 2009, got my first ukulele, took it on holiday with me to America and had many wonderful hours with it. Came back to the UK, and then to save my children from injuring themselves with a knife, with cutting some cheese, basically, I said, I shall do that. Cut the top of the finger off. And then my ukulele career ended until lockdown happened. And it has been restarted.
Rekindled your relationship with the ukulele?
Half a finger.
Oh, wow.
But your amazing mum.
My mother in 2009, who ridiculed me for playing the ukulele, then took it up.
Amazing.
And she is part of lots of local who are going to be coming in here to entertain you all, whether you want to. But the ukulele is great, and I don't know if they do teach it in school for children.
I think they do a bit more now, yeah.
Because in my day it was a recorder, you know, turning. What is the point of that? Because you can't sing at the same time.
No, I know.
I'm sure there's a way. But ukulele is wonderful.
Yeah.
So if you've got all of your fingers, and anyone can play. Yes, I'm fingertips. Anyone can play the ukulele, and so yes, it's singing and playing. Because you play an instrument, don't you?
Yeah.
Yes, singing and playing. It was
good fun.
Yes, but I've had all the time in the world to try and get a bit better.
Get on top of that, yeah.
But wet felting, I would not recommend.
There we go. And would you still describe a snowball as Mummy's little helper, or have you found another beverage as a go-to? I don't actually know what a snowball is.
Oh my word!
So I know it's a drink.
Go away.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know what it is.
You have not lived.
You have definitely not lived. A snowball.
Can you still buy them?
Buy them.
Okay.
You can actually now buy them in bottles.
Can you?
Yes, you can. Pre-made. A snowball is Advocaat and lemonade with a glacé cherry.
Don't forget,
It's a very 70s drink, and it's a Christmas drink. I was allowed to drink it when I was quite young, so it didn't look... It was like an egg thing.
Yeah.
Yes, which sounds gross.
Does sound gross.
And
Nothing you're saying sounds nice.
I remember going to Crouchers, you know, the really lovely hotel, and anyway, and said to the barman, this is a couple of years ago, I'll have a snowball, please. He looked at me and said, I could tell he had no idea what a snowball was. I'm a Southern Comfort and then instead. That's mother's other little helper. I had discovered cans of cranberry and vodka, but I don't drink.
No, you are teetotal, aren't you?
I am utterly.
And you went clubbing when you were 17, just as Madonna, didn't you? Do you think that was kind of your? Do you think that was kind of like your first like intersection into where you kind of ended up now in your career?
Did I go clubbing when I was 17? I went to see Madonna for the first time when I was 16, and have seen her many, many times. Actually, at the Palladium just before lockdown as well. That was a very different sort of gig.
Yes, I'm sure.
Yes. Yes, she is the queen of everything and the master of disguise and reinvention. And my formative years, yes, definitely. Everything she stood for was what I wanted to be. And if you're watching Madonna...
Hi.
Well, you say your formative years, but I think it was only 4 or 5 weeks ago you were dressed as Madonna.
That's true.
That is true! That is very true.
I remember you turning up on the screen and me having a minor heart attack thinking, oh no.
Dawn's finally lost her mind. I dress as Madonna whenever I can. As I think you do too, because I've stalked you on Facebook. That needs to happen. So Madonna, yes, definitely. She's been an influence massively, and her shows are, immersive spectacles, and I love it. So yes,
Great.
Huge Madonna fan.
Nice. So I think moving on, talking a little bit about your sort of history and your past, I think kind of an opportunity to get a little bit more in kind of, deeper with your kind of like background stuff. You have a member of your family who has lived with epilepsy. You described it once as an invisible illness. How did you come across that? How did you deal with that? How did your family deal with that news?
Well, I think I referred it to back then as an invisible illness, mainly because it went undiagnosed for so many years, like 2 years, that's a long time, and you actually try to keep it invisible as well. So you adjust your lifestyle so that this person isn't going to be in positions where it might become visible. Does that sound?
Sure.
So you adjust your behaviour, and not having a diagnosis for so many years was horrible, because it's just a whole ball of confusion and what's going on. But as soon as you get the diagnosis, it's like, then you can educate yourself and learn how to adjust things, and of course medication helps, and sort of control it. And I don't know, I know we try and move away from labels, but actually sometimes a label is actually a good thing to have.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting hearing you talk about that and epilepsy in that way, because I would say I hear that time and time again with from our carers when they talk about dementia and the fact that, you know, they try and cover up or change situations.
Yes.
Or,
definitely.
you know, try and keep that person away from environments where it might come out.
It's confusing for the person and it's confusing for family around, because you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And you think no one else is going to understand, and it's all very strong. Because we used to refer to them as weird moments.
Yeah.
Which I suppose you put your own little sort of label on things, and it's a weird moment. But actually, why shouldn't that actually be investigated and understood? Absolutely. And then of course it was, and it was such a relief. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, but the worst thing is not knowing and just not being able to deal with it.
And those things that you can then put in place that, you know, especially for our customers, you know, different tips, tricks, you know, practical things that you can put in place that just make life easier, a lot easier for that person.
So. I suppose, but with epilepsy, of course, it can be treated so that it's completely gone, not gone, but
of course
suppressed.
Yeah.
Not so for dementia, but in the context of it being an invisible thing, the context of it being confusing, and because I didn't know epilepsy is like over 40 different types of it.
Wow.
And you know, of course, people think of dementia as just people being a bit forgetful, and of course it's so much more complex than that.
Exactly.
So I can see the similarities, but it's confusion, but you need to just understand.
Yeah,
that's
completely.
Yes, you can get help
and support other people around you to understand as well.
Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
Great. And early on in your kind of career of singing and entertaining, you had paid gig, booked gig, and you lost your voice, which meant quite late notice. You kind of had to pull in a few friends. You still did the gig. How did you plan, knowing, well, I've lost my voice, I can't sing? What did you learn from that? And
well, it's really hard when the thing that facilitates what you do is taken away from you. People can still see you, but you can't do the thing that is what you're there to do. Very, very strange. The communication, sign language, I've got quite as far as that. Texting and communicating, but yes. So what I actually did was I have a pool of people who are who I respect and I know represent me really well, and so I called them in. So I still attended the gig, but just explained that I actually can't talk. But I think sometimes people, it's the presence is still there, but which is what I hope I've done for you, is represent you, being your voice, every Friday afternoon. It's calling on people who you know will do the job without me needing to say words.
Sure.
Yeah, and you know, just picking up on that point you just made, absolutely, that's what you've done for us. Over the last 10 weeks, you know, we obviously had to adapt our services so quickly from being face to face to being on the end of the telephone and being virtual. And I think, you know, thank you to you, because every week you've been shouting out about don't forget Sage House if you're feeling a bit lonely and isolated.
Never going to forget that phone number.
No. You've gone from week one of going, what's the number?
Someone say the number!
But to really just letting people know and our customers know and reminding them it's okay to call us and get that support.
I was flattered that you wanted me to do it, because I know the first week was sort of like, right, I'll make you admin on the page for the day, and then I'll un-admin you, right? That's absolutely fine, because I know you would have security reasons for that. And it's like, actually to become feeling like just part of the gang that's getting us through all this. And obviously, normally this is part of my paid work, but everyone is out of it. I don't know, there was a huge sense of community and wanting to, just help out, because I know, and I know people who are also carers for people living with dementia, and so isolated. So yeah, it's really fun to be part of the gang. And but yeah, I was thinking, because if I'd have lost my voice during that run,
oh, you'd have been in big trouble.
Yeah.
No helpers here.
Possibly in trouble. My mum would have done it. She'd have been fine.
Yeah.
Luke could have taken over.
Yeah, he could have done
I'm sure you wanted to hear that.
Maybe not with the dresses.
Yeah.
My dressing room is your dressing room.
So moving on then, so what's next for you? Like you just said, usually this would be part of your paid work, and I know historically you've got a really good balance of, you could take free work until the cows come home. You would be so full of all of that work, but you are a businesswoman. You need to balance that up. So in this whole time where you've not had paid work, what's the future?
Okay, so during this time, not having paid work, I have been actually hired a few times to appear at people's Zoom parties, which is quite fun.
Amazing!
Yeah, just like appeared. In fact, one of your customers, I've been part of their anniversary party in there, and got, because their family were not from around here, they were a bit confused about what's going on. But they had a great time. I had them all up singing the Hi Ho Silver Light. Great.
Lovely.
So no, the paid work, but of course in real time, let's talk pre-COVID, entertainers are approached all the time about doing charity work and it'd be really good for your exposure and marketing. I was like, unfortunately my mortgage doesn't live on exposure. You know, I could tell Santander that I'll put their name on my house if they'll just let me live there for free. But that isn't how it works. So I've been doing in business for a long time, and I learned a lot from my old boss in ABC and being business. And you set the price, that's what it is. It can sound heartless, but at the end of the day, it's a service you're still offering. So lockdown, I don't know, I was lucky, loads of people in the same situation. My husband was still working from home, bless him. He knows my whole set now. And if he has to listen to one more Beatles song, he's going to leave me. I did think performing outside in the garden that week would be like, at least I'll be away from the office. He said, you were doing Agadoo in the garden. Even I was shocked that you were doing the garden. Blame Martha for Agadoo. So lockdown, no, earning has been zero, and in a way it's really weird because I didn't really. I've been doing my cabaret shows for tips for the performers that I was showcasing, but felt bad taking money myself, weirdly. I don't know, I think because I can literally go downstairs, get ready, and be there, whereas normally gigging, you've got the travel, you've got all your license insurances to be at someone's venue, there's all sorts of. I felt a bit bad to charge, if that sounds really weird, but of course it is still my time. Anyway,
it is.
So what now? Back to your question. What now? I'll go around that. What now? It's been, how long has it been? 12? 4 months? 8 years? 8 years of lockdown.
A millennium, a lifetime.
Sadly, I mean, I could talk about this for a long time, but I will try and make this very concise. I had a 5-year business plan in 2015 to run my annual Vintage Weekenders, which are huge events where I hire a whole holiday village and cater for like 400 people. It's very expensive, and I've been doing it for years. And years and years and years, it's sort of not even broken in. But it was a 5-year plan I was on. And this year, finally, it's sold out by February. And so I was looking forward to in October doing this amazing event. It finally happened. And I was thinking, COVID happened. I was thinking, it's not till October. Sadly, I got news in June that the venue isn't going to reopen this year, so it got cancelled. So I can cope with not getting work at gigs, but that broke me, and I had to do a performance online that day that I heard. Oh God! Anyway, so that has been a humongous. That was my biz. That's what I was.
Culmination of all your work.
Everything I do goes into that every year. So that got cancelled, and it took me a little while to sort of actually accept it. I still don't even think I have actually worked through that in my head.
No.
So, usual thing is I jump into plan B. I decided I wouldn't do a plan B, so I went kind of to plan X.
Yeah.
There was lots of thoughts there. So essentially, I've lost all my work. All my gigs for the rest of the year have been cancelled or moved to next year. So as an entertainer, full-time performer, it's pretty bleak. And I know that there's restrictions being lifted, but I'm still not overly convinced. And I want to have the right sort of... I'd rather go back to work knowing that everyone is safe.
Yep.
Yes.
I'm safe.
Yeah.
So what I decided to do was something I swore I'd never do again, because I did this for my first weekend. I did a crowdfunder back in 2016. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, and I've spent all these years ever since saying, doing crowdfunder, don't do it. It's really hard work. It's not just a case of, oh, raise some money for this, this is going to be fun. It was relentless and it was very stressful. It was successful, but so even despite each year my debt getting bigger through my big event, I've never turned to that until now. Everyone has been so amazing, of sympathy for because there's a lot of people who followed my journey and see what I've done and why I've done it, and I've now been to my events, and I thought, I'm doing a crowdfunder. So I'm launching a crowdfunder on July 25th, and it will go on 28 days, and basically the upshot of why am I doing it? I would like to invest in some new equipment so I can go back to my roots and go back to all the nursing homes and places like here, completely safe, which is portable battery powered equipment. So no need to even plug in or give out. Or I know that we'll get through this, but if I can eliminate one opportunity. So anyway, investing in new equipment, investing in joining musicians union, ECTA, all the things that will help me support. And also to help me cover some of the costs that I've lost through this year's weekend, because it was a 6-figure number.
Wow.
So yes, to try and help me that, because I normally throughout the year I spend the year working hard as a gigging performer to service loans and stuff.
Yep.
And suddenly that went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I am. Yeah, moving forward, I'm doing a crowdfunder to raise some funds, basically.
So this is going to go out on the 25th. So this isn't live, but
today.
This isn't live, but it'll be out today.
Yes.
So where can people go to find that
My
information?
website, dawnsvintagedo.com, or just if you Google Dawn Gracie with the IE, you'll find. Don't look at the first thing, look at the second thing. Yeah. I'm joking. It will be all over social media, and lots of crowdfunding, because I did a webinar today. I watched a webinar, really researched it. Some crowdfunders, and you guys are in fundraising and stuff like that, you'll know some crowdfunders are for just donations. Donate some money, give yourself a lovely warm feeling inside. I am all about immersive, as I said, so you can donate in exchange for rewards, and some of those, the biggest thing is an immersive party online where you're sent a box of things that will involve a bingo card, a bingo dabber. We're going to be doing Nobby Knees competition. We're going to be doing, we're going to be doing all sorts of quizzes, and I'll be performing. So it'll be like my vintage weekender, but online. Anyway, and in between all that, there's signed and kissed postcards. I'm going back into the studio to record a CD.
Amazing.
I haven't done that for years. And I've even got a paper cutout dolly of my avatar.
Wow.
I've got brand new t-shirt designs. You've
got the lot.
I've got everything you could possibly. Oh, tattoo sets of Anyway, so there's lots of rewards that you can buy in exchange, or pledge for in exchange for donations. So it'll be fun. It will be fun, because I think, if you're fundraising, it should also be fun.
Absolutely right.
Putting the fun in fundraising. There you go.
And just to kind of back that up, because there is still an element of that warm fuzzy feeling.
Yes.
And I would say that if this can give you the fun so that you can come to places like this, then people shouldn't underestimate how important that is. I mean, the difference you make to our customers absolutely is amazing. The difference you make to their carers as well is, it just makes such a difference. And if that's going to enable you to do that more, especially the support you've given us over the last 10 weeks. I mean, I think next week is our last dress up for dementia for the month.
Yeah.
Or on a weekly basis. And
yeah.
we then move to monthly. And you're coming along to Augusta Court.
Yep. Yeah.
Who have been following you
yes,
every week.
I know.
They bought a brand new TV so they could get more of their...
A brand new widescreen TV.
So more of their residents could watch you.
Yeah.
Which is great.
That's amazing. And I have seen some footage and pictures of people watching me and stuff, and that just means the world to see that happening. And I have been to Augusta Court many times in the past, and I just know it's an amazing thing. So we're actually going to go there in human person.
In human person. And they're setting up, so their car park they're going to set up so that we can be there, and so I think they have spoken about they're going to try and get some like little costumes for the residents who want to take part. They're going to do some masks.
Yes.
So they're really getting involved, but they've been involved since sort of day one of us doing this as well. So.
Oh well, I really hope that through what and I didn't do all the giving during lockdown and before with this in mind but I hope it will come back. You can pledge 10 quid in my crowdfunder, or you can be a business sponsor for a lot more, or stuff like that. But I think for me to get back to work, there's a lot of performers out of work, and they could just, and that lots of people are just setting up crowdfunders or GoFundMes and all these sorts of things. But I need to go back. I need to go back to the beginning almost and start to rebuild my business plan of my vintage weekend, because I'd love to do it again, but I've lost so much money through this being cancelled. I'm not sure if my husband would actually allow me to go through the stress of it.
I was going to say, does he know?
Oh yeah, he's never invited. But yeah, it's took a lot of courage 5 years ago to go, right, honestly, the twist in the whole tale of my autobiography of Dawn's Vintage Do has come to a plot twist that Agatha Christie would be confused by. How it could have gone from 5 years to my vintage weekend of finally being, it's always been great, but finally covering itself, and what I would have earned this year could have paid off all the debts so that we've, all this. But it's lots of huge events that have been cancelled, but this would really help me to sort the future out, but also as a gigging performer, I want equipment that is going to be safe. I have got a rubbish old portable thing, but I want it to be absolutely right, because I don't want to put anyone at risk or myself. Yeah. And I know performers have been doing performances in gardens and car parks and stuff, but if a member of staff has to hand you a plug or an extension, you're still...
And the nature of who your customers are, where you are gigging to the likes of us, is that older person a lot of the time who has been shielding, so that much more vulnerable. So
it's also going to be quite hard actually going back as a performer in the way that I am, because I know there are lots of performers, you probably have them here, well I don't know, but there are some performers who will stand and sing beautifully and be listened to. I'm not that kind of performer. I'm actually very hands-on. I bring all my props and my kit, and I like to not sit on people's knees. Well you do. Reese is watching. But to sort of be, but
you really involve.
It's in a very immersive kind of.
And I learned lots of things through my Dementia Friends training about, not approaching people directly and being too and kind of stuff. So it's just a touch of the elbow or just sitting next to someone. So I don't know how that's going to work. I'm going to have to work really hard. I should wear a big rubber ring so I can't get armbands, can't get close to anyone. But and even sharing a microphone, because you've got lots of talented singers here, and obviously I like to pass my microphone now. So I might need to invest in a secondary microphone that can be, fully taken apart. There's all sorts of things, but I don't want to rush back to work unless it's absolutely safe, and without the funds to do that, I can't.
So, and we need you back.
I know!
Yes.
We need you. We need you.
Well, we'll call it a day there. Thank you so much for coming in, talking to us about everything you've done in the past and your future. So go to your website,
DawnVintageDo.com, or just Dawn Gracie, Google me with an IE.
Yeah, and all your social medias
and
as well.
And all social media.
To help pledge, that'd be amazing. And
yes.
Thank you very, very much.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you. It's so nice to be back.